I have 8 random questions here, and I want you to give me 3 numbers, and then whatever random question they correlate to, that's where we start.
Oh, okay. 4.
Number 4 is rap gifts. What is the most memorable rap gift you've ever received or given?
Given rap? I feel like I should think of like rap gifts that I've given. I always like put together a little, I can't really, I mean, this project isn't out yet, so, and it's not even one I've talked about openly, but I produced an indie. I didn't act in it, I just produced it, but I produced this indie, and in it, one of the characters loves drinking whiskey. And then it's like, anyway, I can't say much, but he loves drinking whiskey. So we got everybody these like whiskey glasses that had one of the lines of the movie engraved on it with a like whiskey, little mini whiskey bottle inside. And it was like one of my favorites that I've given to a crew. I'm trying to think of like if I've gotten any cool rap gifts that I've received. I'm sure I have. I mean, like a cooler.
All right, so you got a number 4. What is your second number out of 8?
My second number, let's go with 7.
I love this one. It's called Scream, and there's only one question that can pertain to the topic of Scream. What is your favorite scary movie?
I hate scary movies.
Oh, no.
I hate them. No, sorry, I don't hate them. I'm sure they're amazing. I'm such a scaredy cat. Like, I just don't enjoy watching it. I genuinely think I can't sleep after watching scary movies. But I don't know if this qualifies. Under the Skin.
Oh, yeah.
That's like terrifying, right? Okay.
Someone just brought that up to me recently too, and that one makes you so uneasy. For me, it's a like watch it once, say I did it, and don't go back to it again.
Yeah, it was. I saw it in theaters. It was like the first art house film I'd ever seen, and I was like so compelled. I was like, magnetized by it, but also terrified.
That's a great example right there. I'll take that. All right, you have one more number left. What is your final pick?
My final pick is 3.
This one is my would you rather question. I love this question.
I love a would you rather.
Would you rather have to fake sneeze or fake vomit in a scene?
Fake vomit.
Why do you pick fake vomit? I feel like most people pick fake sneeze because fake vomit is gross, but fake sneeze is
that actually sounds really fun to me to like fake vomit. I don't get grossed out by that stuff, but also because fake sneezing sounds really hard. Like sneezes are so authentic. I feel like to fake it, it would just look dumb.
So the follow-up question to that one is, of all of like the seemingly silly everyday things we do, what is the most difficult to replicate on set? Things like fake driving, waking up, a fake hiccup, anything like that.
Waking up is definitely a big one. I feel like I've got, like what I do is I just like really try to sleep as much as I can before they call action and just like get into that zone and relax my body as much as possible. Driving's hard. I feel like I have an answer to this that I always think about when I'm asked to do it, and now I can't remember. I'm telling you, I'm so bad on the spot. When you ask me a question on the spot, I will just forget I've ever lived a life.
I have a good excuse for that. It's because you're busy running around thinking about the movie that you're promoting, and that is what you should be doing right now.
It's not. It's because I like crack under pressure. It's literally just like I get so nervous I'm not going to think of something that I actually can't think of anything.
I love how I teed you up right there, and you're like, no, I'm going to be honest about this. What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a new edition of Collider Ladies Night. I am so excited to welcome Camila Mendes to the show. I was very happy to talk Música with all of you on the ground in Austin at South by Southwest, but I mean, 20 minutes is not nearly enough to do your body of work and this movie justice. So again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I loved our conversation at South by. It was great.
Of all of the movies, the performances, or personal experiences that you had, what was the one that first made you say to yourself, I absolutely have to be an actor?
I think it was in high school the first like drama that I ever did as a high schooler. I think I was a freshman in high school. It was I Never Saw Another Butterfly. It's a Holocaust play. It's beautiful. It's very intense, and it, you know, required a lot of emotion and like serious subject matter. So I played the lead character, and you know, it was the first time I really got to be in something dramatic and do something that was more than just like bye bye birdie, you know, like and I remember like there were a lot of people crying in the audience, and that came up to me and said really sweet things to me, and that was the first moment I was like, whoa, like maybe I'm kind of good at this. Like maybe I should keep trying this.
You should keep trying it. I feel like that's also a beautiful sign that, you know, like your work and performance matters too, and it could make an impact on someone that matters, which is really cool to experience so young.
Yeah, for sure.
You recognize the dream to become an actor. I've gotten in the habit of asking two questions about what happens after recognizing the dream. One that leans into the craft, and then one that leans into the business side of things. I'll start with the craft question, also because it builds on what you just said. Do you remember the first time on a professional set when you were performing and something just clicked and you felt confidence in your ability as an actor, where you're like, it was hard to get here, but now I'm here and I'm doing it, and like I deserve to be here?
Yeah. God, I mean, I'm sure it was long before what I'm about to say, but I think that's like the most memorable one. To be honest, the most memorable feeling I've had where I've like had that euphoric connection to acting was when I was doing a play in college called House of Bernarda Alba. And I remember, I mean, you know, there's just something about theater that once you've rehearsed something a million times, then when you start performing it, it's just like second nature. It's like a part of you. And that's when you can really click into something and let go, because you know you've done all the work. And film can be so different. You know, you're getting lines the night before, getting the script the night before, sometimes on TV at least. And there's very little prep time. So you often go into a scene feeling a little bit unprepared. That definitely taught me a lot about, you know, acting or thinking fast and being able to improvise and do my best at any given moment. But there's just that unbeatable feeling with theater, which is like the prep that you get really lends itself to like actually, you know, releasing control and just suspending that belief for yourself. So I remember there was that moment when I was doing this play in college. And then I feel like I've had it a few times during Riverdale. I don't know that I can, honestly, that whole show becomes like one big blur to me. Not a blur, but just like it's all just one big experience. It's hard to like isolate any one thing. But I do remember a moment in Do Revenge where I had that feeling. And I think it was the scene with Maya on the bed at the sleepover. I remember there's this moment, and I remember going into that scene, I didn't think it was going to be that kind of scene, like an emotional scene. I thought it was just, I had a very different interpretation in my head of that scene. And the director, Jen, she just like completely changed my perspective on it. And I think because I wasn't prepared, which is funny because I just said being prepared is what lends itself to that suspension of belief. But in this case, not being prepared for like the type of scene that it was made me so much more alert and present, because I was like just feeling everything in real time. Nothing was planned. Nothing was premeditated. So I felt that feeling in that scene a lot.
What great examples, right? I love how they're such different examples too.
Yeah.
Because you brought up college, I'll jump to that next. I love asking about the choice to study an art in school, because for some people it's necessary. For others, they have a better time taking a different path, and either option is all good. When you studied at Tisch at NYU, what is something you learned there that you still find yourself actively using to this day? But then I also kind of want the opposite of that, something that all the schooling in the world never would have prepared you for when you hit your first set.
That's a great question. In college, I'd say the thing that I really took away was the ability to constructively criticize. I went to a studio at NYU that had so NYU, the acting department at NYU has 7 different acting studios that they place you in, like Hogwarts. So you get chosen, into one or the other. And I got put into Playwrights Horizons, which was all about creating the well-rounded artist. So they did not just acting, but directing, design, playwriting, creating original work, everything. And at first I was like really annoyed by that because I was like, I just want to perform. Like, can I just be in Meisner or Adler or Strasberg like the other kids? Like, I just want to act. And ultimately, I'm very grateful for that experience because I think the reason I'm a producer today is because of that. I think the reason I find myself leaning towards, being behind the camera is because I learned the value of all these other roles. First of all, I learned that I'm not good at all of them. Like shouldn't be in design. I'm an okay writer. Like I can polish a script and like write good dialogue, but like in terms of creating a structure of a great script, like I don't think I'd be able to do that. And also the dedication that requires, I think it would be a huge task for me. And directing is like that kind of decisiveness and leadership that you need to have to be a director is also very specific. But producing is one thing because it's like the full picture and bringing everybody together and problem solving, which I really love doing. In my playwriting class, they taught us how to constructively criticize other people's work, where you're not saying, I really would like it better if it was like this, but you're saying, what were you trying to do by making this character say this thing to that character? Because I've got the feeling that there's just a way of phrasing things and approaching criticism where you're not trying to change their work or change their style of things, but just kind of answer questions about, how their work is affecting people. That makes sense. And that has come in handy a lot in producing. Like if I were to do it my way, then I should just write it and direct it, right? But like, there's a reason why that person is telling that story. So you have to like work with their vision, not try to, weave their vision into your own. So that was a very valuable lesson. The thing that I think you can't teach is raw talent. You just can't teach that. I would love to say that you can because, I think there's a value in going to college for theater and for acting. It definitely like polished my skill set and made me a more technical actor, a more thoughtful actor. And I value those things. I have like real tangible tools that I can lean on in my work. But I also saw people, NYU's, there's a lot of wealthy people that go to that school. And there were a lot of people that I didn't think belonged there for their talent, to be quite frank. And I didn't see them really get that much better by the end. And so the good thing is that I saw a lot of people who were there for acting realize, actually, I don't like acting. I like directing, or I don't like, and they found their path through acting. And I think having that background is probably very valuable. But when it came to like that thing that some people have, I noticed that, the ones that didn't have it in the beginning never really got it by the end.
Oh, it's a good point. I feel like it's raw talent and that like insatiable drive to power through this industry and like, forever scratch that itch that like, you desperately need to scratch. Yes. So if it breaks down in the school setting, it's probably time to go another route.
Exactly.
I'll jump from there to Riverdale. This is one of my favorite things to ask about. It's breaking out in Hollywood because what happened to all of you with that show is like the epitome of it. And also because having a breakout moment in Hollywood can be very different from the outsider perspective compared to the person who is actually experiencing it. So 2-part question about that. Can you recall a misconception about the reality of breaking out in Hollywood, but then also tell me something good that happened when that show was released and caught on so strong?
I mean, nothing can prepare you for it. And I think there's, I just think there's a common misconception about the glamour of Hollywood in general, and like how everything seemed so great on the outside, but on the inside, you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on this.
Oh, yeah, have at it. We're 20 minutes into the video, so YouTube won't flag it. That's probably not true.
Yeah, like I was winging it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think the show was going to be that level of a success. I mean, I thought it had the potential to be, but you're kind of like thrust into the industry not knowing anything. And I think there's this expectation that, you have this big show, now the world's your oyster. And it wasn't like that at all. And not that I really expected it to be, but it felt so strange. Everyone being like, well, you can get anything you want. I bet you're getting offers left and right. And it's like, actually, no, because I've literally never been in anything else. I've never been in a movie. And I'm even though I'm like in this very successful show, I have to pay my dues. I have to still prove to people that I'm worthy of other things and that I can do other types of roles. And it's like this endless process of having to prove yourself. And so I don't know, maybe it's because I was on a teen show that isn't necessarily taken seriously by media. And maybe it's because, we were also a network show. I don't know. I'm sure if my breakout was Euphoria, then that would, maybe the trajectory would have been a bit, I'm not going to say easier, but just different. But I think with Riverdale, it was a big challenge to fight my way outside of that box. I still feel like I'm fighting my way out of that box.
You fought your way out of that box so well. And I feel like a lot of people on that show, I mean this sincerely. I mean, obviously Cole had a lot of experience, but just because I had spoken to him and Madeline recently, and all of you are starring in movies and also producing a significant amount. Like, you're using that star power that you got from Riverdale in the best possible way to tell stories that might not be told otherwise in this business. And I mean, what better use of a build in a career than that?
That means a lot. And I think like, it's not a surprise to me that all of us are entering into the producing space, because when you're on a show for 7 years and every episode there's a new director and you see this, like, these variables changing constantly in front of you, you really get to understand the industry in a different way. Like, you get to see how each episode turns out based on the director and the choices that were made and the DP that episode and everything. We became little producers in our way because we were always there. It's other people that came in and out. And so we were like driving the ship in many ways. We were the ones making a lot of creative choices for our characters. And I just think that show taught us a lot about creating.
Absolutely. I mean, with that, I'll lean into a producing question now. And I love in the Dicey question answer that I now know I'm going to get another movie from you that you are behind as a producer. Can you tell me something someone did for you as a producer or a leader on set on a past project that you want to hold tight to and bring to the sets that you produce? But then I also want to know something that, maybe you wished more producers and leaders did that now you're going to bring to the sets that you're spearheading.
That's I mean, I've admired so many producers that I've worked with. I think in every project there's been many leaders that I admire. I mean, I adore Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa. Like he was the dream showrunner for a million reasons, because he cared so much and he wanted everyone to be happy. He wanted everyone to feel good. And I think that's a very beautiful quality. Like, I could always call him and, talk to him about something if there was an issue. He was very present. And then I think maybe I feel like the ADs of the world are also like the unsung heroes. And on Riverdale, we had one, Gabriel Correa, who it was also Brazilian. So I had a very special connection with him in that way. He felt like an uncle to me. But he was such a great, strong leader because, our showrunner was in the writer's room in LA, so he couldn't be on set all the time. So we needed a presence of somebody who could really like be the glue that holds everyone together. Like I said, constant directors changing, coming in and out. And he would save that. If we had a bad director that episode or somebody who was like really slacking or taking forever to finish the day, whatever, he would always come in and problem solve. And sometimes he would just have to step in and help direct and like get the show back on track. He was just such a hero on so many dark days. And I really admired him, and everyone in the cast did, so much to the point that he ended up they ended up promoting him, and he became a director on many episodes, and he was the supervising producer. So he ended up like climbing his way up and was killing it. So that's somebody who I really, really admired at that time in my life and today. And I also think she was the director, but on Do Revenge, Jen Caton Robinson, she's been such a mentor to me in my career. She's like someone I go to for so much career advice. I go to her because she's like a friend, but she also feels like an older sister. And she's always like, she said something to me when I was in my head about my career and worried about, the age old, like, will anyone ever take me seriously? And will I always this and this? And she said something really sweet that I try to remind myself. She's like, Cami, at the end of the day, you're going to be fine because you have talent. And that is what is going to get you far. Like that is the ticket. That's all you need. You're talented. You're going to be okay. And I'm like, it's such a like simple, sweet way of, reminding myself that that's what speaks most. It's not about your brand or your image or how people perceive you. It's like, let your work speak for itself. Talent will always shine through.
First of all, that's a good thought to leave me and literally anyone with. I feel like no matter what industry you're in, people benefit from that. And also, someone who shouts out an AD always gets massive points in my book. I think ADs deserve way more credit than they ever get.
So much more credit. Oh my God. They're like leaders. They truly are the leaders.
They are unsung filmmaking superheroes because these movies would not happen without their scheduling and guidance and a multitude of other things they add to a production.
It's true.
Getting into,
I just want to flag, I wasn't trying to be like, I'm just like really talented and like everyone should know that. I'm not trying to, I just like played that back in my head. I was like,
all right. Usually I save this question for last, but because you just said that, I'm going to ask it now. And I swear I ask this in pretty much every ladies' night interview at this point, because I think it's really important. In this industry, people give each other awards. That's super cool, but nobody says good job to themselves nearly enough. I want you to tell me something you accomplished making Musica that you know you're going to look back on and say, I am so proud of what I did there.
Oh my God, what a question. I think I have an answer to this, which is, I think I'm very proud of what I accomplished with the female roles in the movie. The script was already great when it arrived in my inbox, but I knew I could add so much more nuance to the female roles and complete them in a way that I don't think any man ever could. So I worked very intimately with Rudy on Zoom for weeks leading up to the film. We would Zoom for hours going through every single scene. And I was like, look, this movie doesn't work if Haley is just this rich white girl who's, cold and a bitch, right? Like this doesn't work, because then you're just like, okay, well, obviously we hate her, like it can't be that easy. What's going to make the film more interesting is if you have like even if you know that Haley's not necessarily the right choice for Rudy, and you can see that from the beginning that there's like a disconnect there between those two characters. But at least you're like, you know, you understand where she's coming from. You understand her frustration with him. Because ultimately it's not like Rudy deciding between two women. It's like, it's Rudy not knowing what he wants and being so lost, and like, he's the problem, you know? It's not Haley. It's not Isabella. Isabella isn't the solution either, right? Like, Rudy wants to think Isabella's the solution, but she's not. And so it also was important for me to make Isabella feel like she had her own personal traumas, and she had like reasons why Rudy was kind of triggering her insecurities. You know, every time she starts to talk about her personal life, he kind of gets distracted, and then she feels a little hurt by that. These are micro things that maybe not every audience member will catch, but it just adds a little humanity and flaws to her. So that, again, she's not the Brazilian American version of a manic pixie dream girl. She's not this perfect, cool, chill girl that's just like the obvious solution to his problem. So I think I'm very proud of what I helped accomplish with those two female roles.
Oh, I think it's so effective. I feel like that probably leans into one of my favorite qualities of the movie, which is I love how well you all capture that, you know, that kind of highly entertaining, fun-loving rom-com feel, but by conveying that each person is like a real full person with their own unique stakes in the game. And when you can balance both of those things, you get an enjoyable watch, but also with, you know, like some meat on its bones, something to make you think and take with you.
There's some profound messages that are lightly touched upon, but they're there and they're felt. And that's why the last scene of that I'm obviously not going to spoil too much on this, but the last scene between me and Rudy is super important, because it really, like, if that scene doesn't land, I feel like the movie doesn't work. Like, it needs to feel like it gets real for a second. Like, the movie's all fun and it moves really quick and doesn't take itself too seriously. And then this scene is like the one scene where it can kind of just like sink into the reality. And I love the fact that never mind. I'm going to spoil it. Never mind.
For what it's worth, that ending worked very, very well for me. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I found it very refreshing and honest, which is a quality that I appreciate in these types of movies.
That's what I was going to say. I needed that honest ending, and I'm proud of that as well.
As you should be. I'll end with this question here. It's like a little bit of like an out of left field question, but one of the things that I love talking about is how, you know, artists in any discipline can influence each other, and how, you know, like Rudy, for example, obviously he's a filmmaker, but the way that you know, he processes music and the types of internet sketches that he created is a different medium than film and television. So it was making me wonder, is there anything you saw him do creatively and in terms of how he approaches his work that made you think of something in your own line of work in a different way, where it kind of illuminated something that, you know, you never would have found unless you collaborated with him?
I was like really taken aback by Rudy as a creator. I didn't really know much about him before the movie. And I got to be honest, before I met with him, I was almost convinced I wasn't going to take on the role. I was like, I think I'm going to pass, which was so stupid of me. I'm really happy I didn't go with that decision. But I think I was just kind of like, one, I already was doing a rom-com that year. So I was like, I'm already doing a rom-com and I'm the lead of that rom-com. Like, is this a step backwards? You know, I'm going to support a man in his rom-com. I don't know about that. But then I read the script and was like, this is really unique and interesting. Also, I've never been able to play a Brazilian American in anything before. So that felt really unique and interesting and exciting for me personally. And then I met with him over Zoom. I watched his stuff online and I could recognize he's obviously very talented, very gifted. But then when I met with him that just him like speaking about it and how articulate he was and how like I could just see the vision very clearly from how he was describing it. Oh, and he sent me he sent me a short, and I hadn't watched it yet when we met, because I don't think I saw it in the link or in the email. I didn't see that there was a link attached with a little reference short film. And he told me in the meeting, he's like, please just watch that and you'll understand what I'm trying to do here. And as soon as I did, I was like, oh, okay, this is unlike anything we've ever seen before. So it was like, not only do I get to be in a film that represents Brazilian American culture, but I also get to be in a cool film that it has a really original, fresh idea. So I think it's more just like, I had this preconceived notion of content creators. And I'm very like, I'm not trying to say anybody's profession is lesser than or anything. I'm actually very open to that. But I think I had this, like, I was like, I don't know, like he's a Viner and a YouTuber and I'm going to be his supporting role in this movie. Like, I don't know about that. That scared me a little bit. And I was like, wow, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't, like, I was wrong. I misjudged. And now I'm like the biggest advocate for content creators, because I'm like, they are so underestimated. These are people that are editing their own stuff and coming up with the creative and executing it regularly. Like, there's such a talent that is involved in creating your own content. And I think that's kind of like the biggest takeaway for me from working with Rudy was like, wow, I feel so shitty that I underestimated you.
I mean, you never have to feel shitty about underestimating someone or something as long as you're open-minded enough to give it a shot and then recognize when...
Clearly, I had to be open-minded enough because I said yes. I literally, within 5 minutes of speaking to him, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. Absolutely. I want to produce it too. So clearly, like, you know, I saw that very quickly, but, you know, I just like, this is just my way of saying, like, I'm just asking for the people out there to give content creators a chance. I think there's a lot of prejudice in this industry. It's like, what projects have you been in? It's like the same way that people judge actors, you know, like, it's like I come from a teen show and I think that makes some people think that I'm probably not a good actor. I'm like, fuck you. I went to theater school, bitch. Like, I'm a theater kid. Don't question me. I'm not just some silly little thing. But you know, people underestimate a lot of people in this industry.
What a waste. Anyone that's underestimating you, they don't deserve to work with you. So screw them. Keep forging forward and crushing it in front of the lens and behind the camera now too. I have to let you go. I could talk to you about your filmography and
so much.
Beautiful, seriously, beautiful, thoughtful answers. And that just means that I have to leave the ladies' night door open so we could talk more in the future. So I will say congratulations on everything you accomplished. Congratulations on Musica and everything coming your way in the future.
Thank you so much. This was lovely. I'd love to do it again soon.